These are some of the first pictures of the new FG Falcon Supercar, and there's a lot riding on its success. Ford spent more than $500 million in the design and build of the latest road-going version, the biggest investment on any Australian model in the company's history. They describe the racing version as evolution, not revolution.
It's our IP of the last couple of years. It's really been invested into this car. We know we've got we know what sort of numbers of torsional stiffness we need in the car, etc. So we haven't set about reinventing the wheel at all with this car. We've got a fantastic race car at the moment, and as much of that we can transfer onto the new car is what we've set out to achieve.
It's been an 18-month process, but the first year was spent conceptualising because there was no chassis to work with. When the first car arrived 6 months ago, the serious work started. Passionate Ford supporters may remember the last Falcon Supercar to be unveiled was called T1. Tucked off to one side of the FPR workshop, the car codenamed T2 has now really taken shape. Like its rival, the VE Commodore, Ford's FG Falcon also had to be cut and shortened a little to comply with the rules.
The car's slightly shorter, it sits slightly lower, but that's partly to do with the fact that we don't have the OE floor in the car. It's a fully fabricated sort of rails and tunnel section, etc. And really, with this car, we've had to match where the VE is. Our roof height's exactly the same as theirs. Our wheels are in exactly the same place, as per project blueprint. So it's a little bit harder than, from a design perspective, because we haven't just taken the road car shell and in effect put a roll cage inside it. We really started from a roll cage and adapted and a floor that we designed and attached the skins to the outside of that.
Working with those project blueprint rules, Ford designed this race body shell to be quicker and cheaper to build. The other objective was to cut repair costs and turnaround times.
Will you run it in a competitive sense this year, or are you waiting to 2008?
Well, the plan was never to run the car this year. The plan was only to get it homologated and, as you say, tick all the boxes, and there are a lot of boxes. So that we at least had it homologated mid-season, and it gave us the second half of the year so we could go on and start building cars. We didn't want to get to the end of the year and then try and cram them in and everyone have sleepless nights trying to get them on the track.
Essentially at the moment it looks like it's an engineer's playground, but are you having, and Richo having, active input in what you want from it?
We always do. We always talk about what we want from a car. So when we build a new car, then you build it around what I guess our weaknesses are. So when you start from a new shell, you don't really know what your weakness is going to be until you get out, but we've got a rough idea of what it's going to do, and it's pretty much making it a lot easier to I guess when you have a damage or something like that, this car's going to be a lot easier. So probably more to help the mechanics, but when we drive it, we'll say we want this and that, and that's when it'll get changed. But at the moment, we let the engineers do the job, and they do a good job so far. So we'll drive it and see what it's like.
While Mark won the most recent round in Perth, Craig Lowndes is scheduled to drive the car in its first public appearance next weekend. Then T2 heads to the Woomera airstrip in South Australia for parity aerodynamic tests against an HRT Commodore. By July or early August, it's hoped the FG Falcon race car will have satisfied all the category technical checks, allowing teams to accelerate the build process for a race debut next season.
We are looking to win the championship this year. It's not Holden's turn, it's our turn. So, we're hoping that we can do that as we progress through the rest of the season, and FG will run behind that.
Our number one priority is trying to win the championship this year, and it's getting to this point has been quite a big distraction for this team, and we've managed to achieve it without impacting our results, and we're conscious of the fact that we really don't want to impact our results for the back end of this year.